Okay. Okay, I was just making sure before I switched over. Hello, sir. We're live.
Afternoon, everybody. Happy holiday weekend. Merry Christmas, etc., etc.,
Yeah.
Hanukkahs, and the other ones. I'm not going to try to say them badly or poorly and do a bad job, but happy holidays to anyone out there that's celebrating.
Yeah.
DM Geezer Jim here with
Merry
Josh, which is,
Yule.
yes, a joyous December 24th and 25th to everyone.
Yeah. I mean,
But D&D chat, man, just kind of tip in the hat to Josh. He wanted to keep on schedule, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We moved to Fridays. It'd be kind of shitty to skip out after 2 weeks, but yeah. So I am here. I'm not sure if any of my side will be here, but we are all here. So welcome.
yeah.
Josh wanted to kick around. What?
So,
Go,
okay,
go. This is your idea. Run with it.
okay, so basically I got this idea because I've been watching a D&D horror story where somebody was talking about like where a DM just completely changed their character. And so like I was wondering like at what point in time do people believe that their DM has gone too far? And you as a DM, how can you recognize if you've gone too far or if you can push the limits of things with your players? Um kind of trying to keep on to like the kind of theme that we've been going on the last couple of weeks with like intermediate play where it's like this is kind of the point in time where you should know where you can mess with your players and be like, sorry you went to a dungeon where it's an illusion dungeon and hand me your character sheets, you're all playing these characters for this dungeon. Like is that an okay thing to do? you know
Yeah.
you know which
No, I hear you, man. I mean, I think it's really worth talking about. It's an interesting subject, but it is absolutely okay to do, and at the same time, it's absolutely horrifying to do. It all comes down to the circumstances, the
yeah
basis, the group, the scenario, everything else.
yeah
Every fun storytelling mechanic, and I'm going to use that term to kind of cover the base for DM fiat.
yeah because that's
We're
what we're
doing
doing.
what we want to move the story forward. We might be stepping outside the rules. We might be being heavy-handed, but it's story mechanics.
Yeah,
And most of the time, I think story mechanics are accepted by the players as such. But every single mechanic that adds flavor and flash and oh man to the game can be taken too far into abusiveness.
yes,
Every single mechanic that we're looking at can be used in the wrong situation or in the wrong scenario in an abusive manner, bad DMing type of a thing. So it's difficult to nail down other than recognizing that the same tool goes both ways. I mean, you straight up, you can take it too far.
okay.
But recognizing and understanding, like you said, turning everyone to an illusion for a session would be great.
Yeah.
But if they come back and their bodies everything has been looted off of them and their bodies are sitting there naked and afraid and all that, that's going too far.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I would say if you're going to pull some stuff like that and like that example, I would go, no, your bodies don't currently exist or something. Like for all intents and purposes, like you were just off the board. Like I would not mess with them in that case because they can't defend themselves. That's not fair to them.
But at the same time, from a strategic standpoint, that's a fun story mechanic that has zero impact because there's no consequence for anything. So that's not abusive. That can't be abused.
Yeah,
Your illusions, and once you're dead, you get to go back to your real person. I hope you had fun being an illusionary level 10 person.
yeah.
So that's not abusive.
No,
There's
I
no way
agree.
that's abuse.
I no,
So
I agree with that. Yeah. Well, but some people don't like that though because they're like, you've just removed control of my character from me.
how
You
did
know,
you remove control if they still get to play?
because people are like, I'm not playing the character that I made. You're making me play a different character at this point in time,
But
even
it's
if
one
it's
session.
right. I agree. I agree. Or even if it's a few sessions, I don't think that it's an issue as long as you're getting to go back to your original body. I
That's a
fully
player issue. That's
I fully
absolutely a
agree.
player issue.
I fully agree with you.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, just like some people are like that though, where they're and especially nowadays where people have these whole things where they're like, oh, we're playing this epic story, and it's not really so much about the fighting and the other stuff. It's telling the story, and some people are like, I'm invested so much into this character that now I don't want to be anything else in this world,
Mhm.
which is why we don't see player deaths as much anymore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I killed some bitches yesterday. Not really. Not really. I did, but I didn't. I hit him with giant spiders, knowing that the giant spider venom, if it reduces you to zero, you're just unconscious and paralyzed for an hour. DMs, if you really want to fuck up your, don't be afraid of using giant spiders because if they die, they don't really die. They wake up in an hour as long as something chases spiders off. But
yeah,
anyway, I
yeah.
digress. Um, I mean, everything that you could use to have fun could also be used to make someone miserable.
I agree.
I'm going to use a real life example. Uh, my Planescape LGS game, we had some stuff going on. Without putting too much emphasis on anyone, one of the new additions decided to want to play the I'm a rogue and I'm going to stealth and pickpocket and steal, and every possible moment that I can push my rogue buttons, I'm going to do it. Now, part of the problem is you're a brand new player to a table, literally, first time they sat down to meet these people, and that's how you present yourself.
Yeah.
I'm a DM, I don't care, I know how to do that. Second thing is that's time. That's time that gets taken away from everyone else at the table when you want to do that. And third, when your team's telling you no, stop, don't, you don't understand. No, fuck y'all, I know what I'm doing. We've been in this city, you haven't. Now, fuck y'all, I know what I'm doing. So I was a dick. I let him very easily steal a cloak of Elvenkind, walked out, put it on, and he's been cursed, and his character's stuck in the border ethereal. And his group is the ones that decide when to let him out, not me. So in a roundabout way, I have absolutely removed a customer's ability to interact with the world for as long as I want to do it. That's bad DMing. And I mean, you go listen to Dungeon Brothers and Dungeon Dudes. I'm the worst DM in the world. How dare you do that? But I got thanked by several of the players for doing that.
I mean, I think that this is where player agency comes into account as well, where it's like you have been told at every intersection, do not do this. Like you were telling me that you were like, hey, this is one of what the number one like proprietor of like magic items in the.
We're talking, we're talking about Planescape setting 2e Tivium's Antiquities, ran by Luvius Ruskin, an ancient-looking tiefling person who has access to most every spell key, or most every known gate key and an ascending tower's worth of magic items. No guards, no nothing. Exactly. Anyone with 4 brain cells to rub together would assume, let's not fuck with this crazy lady.
Oh yeah.
This dude decided to jump. So
all you had to do is tell me 2E and tiefling, and I was like, yeah, we're not fucking with her. Like.
You would think if you walked into a magic store, there's no guards, there's no alarms, there's no traps, there's no nothing, that if she doesn't feel the need for that, you shouldn't be stealing from her.
Yeah.
So he's cursed, he's stuck in the border ethereal, he can't do anything but talk. He can't affect anything, he can see what's going on, and I'm allowing him to communicate like a ghost, but he can't physically do a fucking thing. Okay, now, if I have any creatures that can ethereally attack, he's toast because no one can help him. So if things continue going sideways, then yes, he will be dead in the ethereal plane, lost forever, and re-roll a character.
Okay, so
is that heavy-handed?
Okay, so I would say that you have not fully taken player agency away from this character. You are still allowing them to talk, which in the ethereal plane, he should not be able to communicate with anybody who's not on the ethereal plane. So you are giving him that. And you have allowed him to be in a position where he can do exactly what he wanted to do. I'm invisible. I can walk through walls, And so you've technically given him what he wants, but he just can't interact with anything physical right now.
And that's why I was tickled to death. And everyone's like, that's like the worst curse you could do to a rogue, dude. No one can see him. He can walk through walls, walk through doors. He can poke his head and look inside of a treasure chest and see everything. And he'll never, ever, ever be able to touch it.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with letting him float there as long as the group is letting him float there.
I think that's good. I think that's like A+ perfect, honestly. I do believe that like being on the other side of it, that I can see people going, that's too far though. I do.
And that's why I wanted to use that as a personal, honest, no bullshit happened 4 days ago situation. So I mean, we're not even using hypotheticals. I'm using something that I placed upon a paying player. So as a customer might be like, that's bullshit, man. I paid to play, not sit here and float along like Casper the fucking Ghost.
Yeah.
You need to fix this, DM. And I'm like, that's up to your group. They have the remove curse spell right now. Maybe you should ask them why they haven't cast it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, especially given that like the party can fix him at any point in time. So like that's that 100%. Okay, never mind. I take it back. Yeah, that's definitely not heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the party has all the resources they need
The
to fix it.
party's level 6. They have
Oh,
remove curse.
yeah, fuck
They
it.
got a cleric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely not heavy-handed then, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly fair.
Mhm.
There's no reason that he can't have a cursed item put on him. There's nothing against
And I
that.
guess
He
and that's
walked
why
right
the
into it.
group and that's why the group is like, yeah, I'll have to mem that tomorrow. Oh, fuck, I forgot to prepare that. I guess I'll prepare that tomorrow. So at this point, it's now the group taking over that kind of a thing.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree. I
so
and even as a paying player, I don't think that there's anything you can do about that. You are not doing anything that is not
yeah.
acceptable, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like again, it's a live fire example of me taking a little bit not no there wasn't even any license, absolutely legal. There's nothing in the that I did wrong as far as that goes, but using DM fiat to punish a player. That's really what it comes down to. If we're being 100% honest, taking all the story, all the fun, all the cool, I used my power as a DM to punish a player.
Yeah.
Mechanically, they were distracting from the table. They were causing discord. They were causing issues. So I used my powers to say shame, not necessarily shame, but you're in the timeout corner. You can't no touchy, no touchy, no talking. No, well, you can talk, but no touchy, no nothing until your players decide you can get along with them. That's kind of heavy-handed to some people.
Yeah. But and I know we talked about this before we got onto the chat, where this is kind of one of those things where it's going to be kind of like there's no real going to be hard or fast rules
No
for
right or
this.
wrong, yeah.
And I agree, and I think that what you're saying is it's completely case by case. I think that in this case, you have done nothing wrong. I think that if circumstances were different, I could see this being a problem. But like within the context where he has had every opportunity to not do this, he has been given all the information going into it, what's going on.
And
His
I
party
mean,
can easily remove it from him. Like, I don't think that there's an issue with this. You get what you
and
deserve.
just yeah, and a little bit of editorial, man. You've been playing with me a lot in a lot of different campaigns, a lot of
Yeah.
different situations. You know, I'm not a heavy-handed DM.
I've never seen you do anything like that to anybody before.
So you could probably assume how fucking sideways things were
Yeah.
going for me to do that.
Yeah. No, I can definitely vouch for that.
You're like, oh, he has it in him to do it. Yeah, fuck it. I gotta take care of a table of 8 people, man. If you're
Yeah.
ruining everyone else's time, go play in the ethereal plane. Uh, when they decide you can come out of the closet, they'll let you out. But you know, but that's a working, living example of it being done, I guess, well in a sort of sense.
Yeah.
You know, now the one you were talking about, where you're actually polymorphing someone into something and leaving them in a new race and a new class and a new everything and personality.
Yes.
I mean, that's fucking, in my opinion, that's heavy-handed as
I think that's
hell,
a
dude.
lot. I really think that's a lot. Yeah.
I mean, unless there was some actual away from table discussions that were taking place that you're not privy to.
Oh yeah.
Well, dude, we're going off of mememiness, so there may have been several conversations.
Yeah, just DM horror story that I saw going off of. So like, I don't know the full story 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, assuming there were some conversations done outside of it, then it would probably be a good thing.
I know there were conversations between the DM and the player where the DM was like, "Hey, stop doing this kind of stuff," you know, where they talked to him like, "Hey," giving them warnings about it. But I don't, as far as I'm aware, there was no discussion of, "Yeah, if you do this again, I'm going to completely remove your character. You're going to play someone completely different. I'm giving you literally different memories for a character. Here's your backstory." You know, I don't think that there's any discussion that you can have with a person that's going to make that okay. But apparently, the player rolled with it and they learned. Like, so I mean, it can be effective.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that that's the absolute exception that proves the rule,
yeah,
though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in 99.998% of the time, that player's like, fuck you, I'm out, and they quit 100%. The table. And you still accomplish what you needed to accomplish.
Yeah.
You got to either A, teach the player to play better, or B, get the hell rid of them. Because, you know, there's a certain point, and, you know, a lot of my discussions, if you're a regular, you know, join me over on my channel for lunchtime stuff. A lot of what I've been talking about and leaning towards lately is table management. You know, a lot of times we get lost in the beautiful picture of building a world, and then we forget about the fact that it's got to be playable. Yeah. We've got 4 hours divided by I'm like it or not, I'm the dungeon master. I'm going to take about an hour and a half of that time automatically because I got to talk, I got to roll, I got to So now we're down to roughly maybe 2.5 hours divided up between 4 people. 120 plus 30, 150 minutes divided by 4, 34 minutes each is a game time. If everyone gets an equal amount of time, that's what the math devolves down to on a D&D setting. Or an average 4-hour session, you as a player are probably going to be active about 35 to 40 minutes of the game. That doesn't seem like a lot when you do the math, so it's really important as a dungeon master to make sure that you're able to manage a table and at least guarantee that 30 minutes per player over the course of a session.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to even do that because there are certain players that are very talkative, very forward, and other people who shy away from doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just breaking it down to pure math.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Yeah, I
know,
mean, that's
so
just law. Yeah, it just averages. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I've been looking at we've been talking about game mechanics and world building, running adventures, and this is the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
We want to be able to do these things, but it's still at the end of the day, you're still managing a table. We're still playing a game as a GM, DM, whatever your system of choice is. You're a game manager as much as you are everything else.
Yeah.
As and that's why it's called that. GM, some of them game master, game manager. Yeah. Well, actually, we were called referees in Twilight 2000, and we were called game managers in Cyberpunk 2020.
Interesting. Okay.
So, just as a little bit of an aside, but it doesn't matter. I digress. So, using your DM powers for evil, what does it? Give me another good idea of what that looks like.
Ooh, for evil?
Because I can think of a zillion and one ways to do it for evil, but I can't ever really justify doing it. So what else does bad DMing look like to you?
I would railroading is going to definitely be bad DMing, where it's just like no, you can't go to this place. You're going here. I think that one of the worst things, and this is just my opinion, that a DM can do is make a DM PC. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just like, I'm going to put a character with you that is going to travel with you, and they're the super awesome badass character that I made for myself, and they're going to lead the party and no, we're going this direction, and pull them along in certain places and be like, oh, I'm the badass, I can just beat things for you instead of you doing it yourself.
What's Yiliak?
I mean, but that's not the same thing though. We that's literally right. That's literally us transporting her. Yes, for that a moment in time, she was a super powerful fucking ally for us, but like we're not going to be with her forever, you know.
Yeah.
And that's never
I guess
how
that's
she was
that's my
intended.
point.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good to know. I mean, and that's a great thing because. Go ahead.
And to also justify that, if we would not have gone this route, she would have never been traveling with us in the first place. So like 100%. Not the same thing. You didn't
building,
intend,
baby.
yeah. You didn't intend for her to be a part of our party, you know.
It just worked out that way and worked out really well.
Yeah.
Well, another example, because it's something that I used to really, really avoid. Stalwart avoid is having an overtly powerful NPC involved in the party.
Yeah.
It's something I'm starting to embrace a little bit as long as it's handled well. What?
So, funny story. Literally, the first time I ever DM'd, right? I put a character to go with the party that was a barbarian, right? He was leading them to the place. He was going to help them in their fights if they got into trouble. I had never run a barbarian. I kept forgetting that he could rage and shit like that. So I just used him as a really nerfed fighter the whole time.
Hell yeah.
And so like it was just like he never hit anyone the entire fucking thing. He did nothing to help the entire party.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's like the same campaign, ironically, that I'm the Planescape one. They have big, and I didn't write it this way, but I had to manage it. The Devaspark, the module, because at the end of that module, one way or another, your party ends up with a extra planar ally. If they end up hooking up Yibdil tags along with them to help them atone for what he did wrong and to try to bring goodness to evil, realizing what he cost Abadil, right? The Bebelith.
Yeah.
Okay. A Deva is a very, very, very powerful NPC to assign to a 5th level party, but that's what the book gives you. Or they go the other way and put the spark into Abadil, the Bebelith, which is this gigantic spider demon from the Abyss. They were in the Abyss before the demons got there, and they eat demons for fun. um, joins their party to learn how to be a person, to learn how to be good. So either way, you're dropping a CR12 to CR18 monster into your campaign as a companion for the fucking party. That's hard to manage without taking shit over. So she thankfully, with part of the Deva Spark, she's got some of the Deva abilities. So she polymorphed herself into a teenage girl and said, okay, if I'm supposed to learn how to be a person and you guys won't let me eat everything, then I guess you get to babysit me. And I'm playing the impetuous, bratty ass 19-year-old. What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? You know?
Did you ever in
But I
relation
neutralize the power was my main
no, that's
point.
good.
I wanted you got to
Okay,
figure
'cause
out how
that's
to
what I was gonna that's
neutralize
what I was
that
gonna
power.
ask you was how you did that, yeah. Did you ever, and this is just kind of side tangent, but it kinda deals with this. Did you ever watch Star Trek Next Generation?
On and off.
So
The
you're aware of the
first time
character
that
Q?
yeah, that's why I hate the show.
Okay, so there's an episode where he gets punished and he gets all of his powers removed, and
Mhm.
he's like, "I wanna be a human and put me on the Enterprise." And he doesn't know how to be a human, so, like, it's stuff like he's like, "I feel, like, weak and, like, like, this part of my body hurts," and they're like, "You're hungry, you have to eat food," and he's like, "The fuck is that nonsense?" Like, he just passes out because he doesn't know to sleep,
Yeah.
and he's like, "You do that shit every night? Like, how do you not panic? Like, you just lose consciousness?" Like
Yeah.
yeah.
And, you know, it's kind of with her, it's like, you know, she's learned that Bebelith eat for fun. They don't need to eat. They don't need sustenance. That's just part of what it is. Kill, slay, destroy, and the best way to defeat your enemy is to consume their essence.
Ooh.
So, you know, walking around in a city as a human, you know, she'll sit there and she'll eat, and because she's still a celestial, well, celestial abyssal, but she's in human forms. But she, you know, polymorph doesn't change what you are; just changes what you're looking like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, they got this girl just fucking eats and doesn't stop eating. Like, you need to stop eating. Why? This tastes good. You're gonna get sick. No, I won't. Bet. You know. So it's that
I
whole kind of thing with the Q. So it's a lot of
my
fun,
my dumbass would immediately
but
be like, "Where are the cooking competitions? Let's go." Or the eating competitions. Let's go. We
right,
are entering
exactly,
her in
exactly.
everything. We're about to make a killing. Like, let's go.
You know, and the one bounding that they have is they made a promise to the Sphinx. Blah blah blah. The story, heavy-handed DM power is this bad, where they are obligated to teach this being how to be good, which then kind of dictates how the party has to behave for this period of time. Is
Well,
that heavy-handed as a DM? Is that removing agency? I mean, they
um,
could have said no, thank you.
I mean, yeah, yeah, absolutely. They could have said no, thank you, but I don't see how that's different from also handing them a MacGuffin that does something similar. Like, hey, if you get hit with this thing while you're carrying it, it explodes, kind of thing. That's something you could use as a mechanic. Be really hard to
No,
deal with.
that's way
But
fucking different.
yeah, but I mean,
That's way you
there
put it in the portable hole, you filled it up. It's a non-sequential at
that's
all.
fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
That's not controlling
Um,
your behavior, your
okay,
decisions when you're sitting
so
here
okay,
facing a good and evil.
okay, not the same thing, but within the thing that I'm doing, the Murkmire Stone, it still affects you even if you put it into a bag of holding, and that changes personality and stuff like that whenever you grab it. Like,
Okay,
yeah, so that's
but
actually
that's
built into
that's
one of their things is to
but
change your
that's
character's personalities.
that's way different than what I'm talking about. That's
Yeah.
absolutely way fucking different than what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is forcing an entire party to be good for a significant amount of time as long as this crazy ass Bebelith Deva combination is with them. Is that heavy handed?
Well, I
I'm
mean,
not talking about one thing. I'm not talking about carrying a rock from point A to point B. I'm talking
what
literally their behaviors and their actions over the course of the next part of the campaign are going to influence how this new being develops.
okay, I still don't think that takes away any of their agency because there's nothing to say that you can't still be the exact person you were before and just teach them that stuff. I mean, it's not necessarily the correct thing to do within that circumstance, but there's nothing that's stopping them from doing
Mhm.
that, you know?
Well, I agree. I
So
agree.
that's within their own
But
choice still. Yeah. I think that as long as
yeah,
the players still have within their own ability to make the choices for it, I think it's perfectly
yeah,
fine to do these kind of
okay,
things. Yeah.
yeah,
Because like, yeah, there's still options for them to go, no, again, you said they could have been like, no, thank you. And there's still options while they're with them to still be shit bags if they want to be shit bags, you know?
yeah.
If they choose not to be,
But
then
yeah,
hey, maybe the character's influencing them, and that's part of the story. Like, hey, I became a better person by trying to make this person a better person. you know?
Well, and honestly, it's kind of funny because we have two people that are just good in nature, that are like all about it. You know, they've been there since the beginning. They've seen the evolution of Abadil and all of that kind of stuff. They want to continue to go, but they're good aligned and they're good playing people. I got two people that are selfish bastards, but know what it is and fear if we act like assholes around her and she goes into spider mode, we're all fucking toast. So the fear of what she could be if she goes evil keeps them towing that line. And I've got a few people that are still learning about the whole situation, new players coming in and out. So I mean, it's still player. At any point they have the choice to be assholes,
Yeah.
but knowing that this gigantic spider demon is going to sprout out of this little girl and eat everything in Sigil, that's heavy-handed.
I think it's honestly an interesting like mechanic to add into the game because I mean, excuse me, I mean they could mess it up at any point in time, and that's just kind of one of the things you have to deal
Yeah.
with. But like,
Mhm.
yeah, like it's still kind of a fun thing, and that like it
And
lets
to
it,
me, that's
and I think that
go ahead.
introduces like a lot of actually interesting role playing opportunities as well, because like there's nothing to say that like, hey, my character has to be this person in front of them, but I can be whoever the fuck I want as long as they're not around. You know, there's nothing to
Right?
say that that
Yeah.
at all.
You know.
Hey, you stay
So
here. I
it's
gotta go commit some crimes. You know?
so this is one of those things that it's an interesting story mechanic. When you first start looking at it, it's going to require a lot of heavy-handedness by the DM.
Yeah,
There's no rules. There's nothing that really says how to handle this situation. So you got to get a little inventive. You're gonna have it's pure DM fiat,
yeah,
but it's a story mechanic. Because as Josh saying, the campaign can take an entirely different tone and shift for the next period of time while they're doing this. It wasn't expected. People can grow with them, challenging beliefs and all that kind of stuff, and obviously have the chances to fuck it all up.
yeah.
You know, so I like being able to do that. I like having that right. I like having that privilege. You know, but some people is the fact that you are requiring them to adhere to an alignment for a certain amount. I'm not requiring them.
Yeah.
The consequences for fucking up might be absolutely severe between the Bevelith going nuts and the Sphinx coming to hunt them,
Yeah.
but I'm not forcing them.
Well, I mean, I guess it would be the same thing as if they were playing evil characters in Waterdeep, you know, where it's like, don't fuck around because you will find out, you know, kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, and Waterdeep is another really great, excellent example of listed DM fiat that you will be holding over your players' heads for all of eternity if you play that campaign. You get about 3 paragraphs in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, maybe another 2 paragraphs at the back of it. And if you're really good at research, you could probably put together about another 4 or 5 pages in DM's guide on how to run, repair, build, charge, etc. a business. But your players are given a business day 2 in that campaign. So once again, you're using a huge amount of DM fiat to drive a story mechanics to drive it along. It's all absolute in your power. How many times do you want to blow up their windows? Do you want to burn it down to the ground? Do you want them to have an unfriendly ghost in the attic instead of a friendly ghost? But that's going to have a lot of influence on your players.
Yeah.
And it's a story mechanic to start with, but it's something that you can very much manipulate around and victimize the players of.
Yeah.
Are you going to break into that house repeatedly? Everyone in the neighborhood knows a bunch of hard partying, badass sewer spelunking adventurers in here. They're never fucking home.
That's a good
They're
point.
gone 3 and 4 days at a time. Why are you not breaking in? Xanathar runs the Thieves Guild, for fuck's sake. Xanathar knows what they're getting for him. Xanathar going, oh, you guys are on mission? Hey, our Troll Skull dumbasses are on the 6th level DOMM. Why don't you send up the boys and clear out their closet again? That's heavy-handedness, dude.
Man,
But it makes sense for story.
no, because like here's the worst part about that is because our asses would have held a grudge. We would have immediately gone, nah, we're leveling up as fast as possible so we can fight the Xanathar, and it would have been a bad idea.
Like 6, just a good spread across top. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
no, 100% our dumbasses would have tried to
10
fight
minutes,
him.
maybe
100%.
15, still's melty. Yeah, absolutely. So, but I mean, sorry, helping. My kid's got a potluck at his job
And
tonight, and he's
okay,
cooking up a big old casserole for his potluck. So I apologize for the interruptions. But you go, boy. Good job, man.
so let me actually throw this at you, okay? So you know that about your players, right? That like if
Hmm.
you would have done that, we would have had to have fought him. So I don't
Mhm.
see so that's that in a way is also manipulating your players because you know how your players are going to react to things, so you can still manipulate them. So I don't think that necessarily manipulating players in and of itself is being too heavy handed because you're going to be able to and you're going to. You
Oh
know?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, shit, blowing up the windows. I needed you guys to get the fuck out of the house and stop smoking pot and flirting with the neighbor, so I blew the windows out of the house with the fireball.
Yeah,
Now they're back on track.
yeah.
And I pulled 1,500 gold out of their pockets in the process. On the first time, they weren't about to do it the second time, so they sat there and spent way too much time
Hours,
casting
hours.
men to fix their windows, but they got back on track.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely heavy-handed to blow that shit up. Yeah, well, I mean, what you said right there is
You
kind of a
wouldn't have been
big
so
part
mad if
of.
it wasn't twice.
But this is kind of what we were talking about with the mid-tier, mid-level DMing thing. This is where you gotta get a little more inventive because now everyone knows the rules. Like I said, beginning DM, we're learning the rules. Now we're playing the game.
Yeah.
Later, high-level game, guys, high-level play is just exploiting the game. Let's not act like we're doing anything special as level 20 people. We've super built our kind of shit, and I've got my one touch, one punch, and I get 3 smites, and when I smite, I get this, and when I get this, these 3 guys get that, and when they get that, that guy. That's what level 20 is exploitation. I don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
We'll worry about that later. This is the meat of our D&D lives and experience right freaking here, man. And this is as a DM where you're going to be facing that wall of, is this too heavy-handed or not, all the time.
Yeah. But I do think that this is also the time for DMs to experiment with things within the game, right?
Have fun, yeah,
Yeah, because
absolutely.
as you progress, you're gonna eventually realize, like, hey, wait a second. If I can do this, then that means that I can do this to the players, where you can do stuff like have an illusionary session where it's like you are different people, because that's totally something you can do within rules. There's no reason that they can't spend a session polymorphed into fucking frogs because they walked into the wrong place, you know?
Hmm.
And that's something that like you've discovered through actually playing with it, and you can experiment with that kind of stuff. Put fucking spells on a dragon. Who cares? Like, you know?
Yeah. But, I mean, well, Fizzband's codified it, thankfully. But yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. And I'm not necessarily. I guess for me, I don't see being the bad DMing DM control as changing stat blocks or as any of that kind of stuff. That's you're gonna have to do that. At a certain point, you're gonna be altering stat blocks.
Yeah.
It's more kind of like what you're saying, or the example I stuck a dude in the border ethereal until I decide or his group decides he wants to come out. The example you gave of someone getting polymorphed and tear your character sheet in half. Here's your new character. Welcome back to the table, or don't play. That kind of heavy-handedness,
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned railroading as far as being DM control going to see, and that's what I always joke
What?
about. It's like the people, oh, I don't
Oh,
have to
hold on.
plan. Because if my players, I tell them the castle they need is to the west. If they go west, it's to the west. If they go east, it's to the east. They go north. You're still railroading. You're just being a lazy little bitch about it. Your players have no fucking choice. They're going to that castle.
Yeah.
You may have given them the illusion of it. What happens when they go north and see the castle? Go, nah, let's go south. You see the castle. Now you're you're just
Well,
looking
damn.
like a dumbass at this point.
Yeah.
You
Then
know,
you're
well, I
trapped
guess
into
we're
it. Once
going to the castle.
once it's established, it's established.
Well, that's the hope. That's the hope. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that I hear that a lot. I don't have to plan because I just put what in front of my players where it needs to go. You're going to be stepping into this heavy-handed DM power going too far a lot more often than prepared campaigns and pre-built campaign worlds, because we still have guidelines that we have to adhere to for consistency. When you're making shit up as you're going along, this is where you double got to be careful, because you can really dig yourself a hole with this cool thing called precedence. Because every player going to remember when you did something really fucking cool or really fucking bad, and they're going to say, hey, remember back in Oxig when I did this and this and you let it? Well, I'm going to do this and this, and because now I got this, I'm going to do these 8 things.
So
And you're like, fuck.
let me ask you about this. How do you feel about going, I'm gonna let it happen this time. This is not a precedent. We're gonna let rule of
How
cool
many
happen
times
this
have I said? I've
once.
said that a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I've said that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Okay.
We all start. Y'all say something. We'll start laughing. It's like, I am allowing this, but I am not allowing this as precedence.
Yes.
As long as you say that as a DM, and your players bring it up again and say, yeah, it wasn't precedence, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully your players let it go. If they keep chewing on it, just Remember, note to self: no longer a rule of cool. You can't trust these people to respect the spirit of the game. So no, sorry.
I'm just gonna say that every time. This is not precedence, but you can do it just every time. That way, I can just back myself up.
So, it's up to you.
No,
Absolutely. You
no,
know.
that'd be awful. Just switch the rules as I want to, just because it's not precedence. It'd be awful.
Well, I don't use that on y'all.
Yeah, no.
That's something you guys use on me.
Yeah.
I guess more. It's an option. It's a play that the group is making that I'm saying this is outside of the rule. Yes, as rule of cool, this sounds fun, but this is not something that's changing the rule or setting the rule.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
So I think we all should be able to do that and have fucking fun.
Absolutely.
You know,
Okay.
exploitive players are still gonna figure out how to bring that back into your face. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain and let me rephrase that. Is min-maxer better than exploitive?
I don't necessarily think so, because I think that like min maxers will go. It's beneficial for me to play this race and this class together, but I don't think that necessarily they're going to be like it's beneficial for me to play this race, this class, this feat. Get this AP at this level, get this.
That's all min-maxing is.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's a difference. I think.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
you think there's a difference between exploitive?
Yeah.
Okay. Point being, that problem player behavior that pushes you into going over heavily handed with adjusting things that now looks like bad DMing because you're exerting control. Well, I mean, like the argument about silvery barbs, allow it at your table, disallow it. I allow it like a bitch because my people can cast it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to go ahead and re-roll that nat 20. Why? Because my little level 3 cultist on the back line hits you with silvery barbs, and now the Demogorgon in front of you gets advantage of the next attack. Been fun. You know?
I mean, yeah, that's fine.
But there are DMs that say, no, that spell's too hard to handle and ban it from their game. I mean, is that DM control going too far? Or is that specifics to the table?
Well, I guess
because technically, go ahead.
That falls into table rules. And that is also optional. It's not anything that you have to allow. Like you don't have to. Yeah, any of the optional character features you don't have to allow. But so I don't think that's being heavy-handed. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I personally don't see an issue with using them. I 100% I agree with you where like they have access to it, you have access to it. And even if you didn't have access to it, I don't think that it's so overpowered that it breaks the game. That I wouldn't know how to deal with it. You know what I mean?
DM comment to DMs out there, there's nothing that is out of your reach. Just on him says, even if we're absolutely allowed to use it. Don't even act like you can't use it for the
right. I'm just saying, like
you could use it and not let your players use it.
Yeah, but like even if it was like a codified rule where it's like you DMs cannot use silvery barbs, like even if it was something like that, I don't think that'd be something that would be so game breaking that you couldn't deal with it. Like I really don't.
Well,
they're gonna run out of spell slots, and if you want to waste all your spell slots on making me re-roll shit, cool. You know.
Same thing for y'all.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I love watching second level slots disappear for silvery bars, man. Love it.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that it's so overpowered that I wouldn't know how to deal with it. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna put characters that hit a lot of times, and you're gonna wind up rolling that shit. Cool. You're gonna be out of spell slots by the time you get to the fucking boss.
Absolutely. Yeah. But that's back into manipulating your players because you know what they'll do. That's knowing that if I put 3 people in a line, that it will not matter. A lightning bolt is going to fly. Man, yeah, you jacked up those 3 thugs. Now 2 fists of ball and a Reaper Merkle come around the corner. Shit. And they're not in a line. Shit. Fish that crap out. Is that, that's DM control. Is that, I call that good tactics.
No.
That some people would go as far as to say that's being an exploitive DM.
Well, I mean, I think that's why are you not allowed to have tactics as a DM? Why your enemies had to stand in a fucking single file march and file line and just walk into your
because
players?
We feel compelled to let Strixhaven curriculum into Greyhawk. We feel compelled into letting fucking everything mix up in a whole world for the player's sake. We want the players to win. I mean, hell, the whole idea. You guys are smart about playing in the dungeon because I taught you really early That first fucking time when you guys went in the dungeon, dropped thunderclap, collapsed the ceiling, and every fucking trog in the place ran to you.
Yeah.
Since that one moment, you guys understand what goes on in a tunnel. Other people like, no, each room is its room. You know?
No, absolutely not.
I agree.
What,
I'm with you.
every
But there's
enemy is deaf if they're not within that
Well-
room. Like, you know.
look at encounter design and tell me that the intention is not otherwise in some of the books. Some of these monsters are
no, I
three
can buy that.
rooms away from each other, should be killing each other. This is prey, this is hunter species, but they're separate rooms. Some dungeon design and counter designs is explicit, just makes no fucking sense and doesn't teach you as a DM to do that. So players learn to expect
Interesting.
that. So when you actually go, oh yeah, by the way, that lightning bolt, the flash of lightning was seen for the next 11 tunnels that went down the full length of the hallway, bringing in the rest of the reinforcements. That's bullshit, man. Because you were taught that by bad tactics, by bad module presentation.
See, that's wild to me because, again, this is me running my first module right now. Keys, it says, hey, if your players engage a guard at all, every guard within the surrounding area hears that shit and is coming in. Like that's
And you're oh no,
Yeah.
here's the funny thing. You're acting shocked because it's written in the book.
Yeah.
So by definition, if it's not written in the book,
Well, no, I'm just saying that I think it's weird that they would write other books that didn't do the same thing. Is what I'm saying. If you're going to write it in one
No, I
book,
agree.
it should be, you know, like it should be the same across books. That's why I'm acting surprised by it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do what?
Check it out.
Okay, see how it looks. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you, but that's one of those conversations for a different
That's
day as far
weird.
as
That's weird.
information. But what I'm saying is that's a DM control mechanism that can go too far.
Yeah.
My beholder layers.
Well, look,
That is absolute horrifying DM control that you guys cannot beat because I understand how that creature works. Is that being too heavy-handed and unfair?
no, I mean, because there's no reason
You
that
wanna check?
your creatures shouldn't act the way that they're written. Like they're
I'll
literally
look at it in a
like
second.
there's lore about these creatures. There's stuff that talks about them in the book. That's like, hey, this is how they think. These are intelligent creatures. Use them intelligently. Hey, these creatures use a lot of traps. Use traps. Like it talks to you about these. Hey, these creatures, fight with pack tactics. Use pack tactics. Like, it
Yeah.
tells you.
I hear you.
Like that's wild to me. I can't believe that anybody would be like, no, sorry, you're in this room. No other enemies can hear you. That's wild to me. I think that if you're going to make a loud fucking noise, it can be heard from 300 feet away because it's written into the fucking spell. Things 300 feet away should hear it.
Well, and more than that, when you're in a tunnel, quadruple that to about a half a mile away, echoing through the tunnels. That's, I guess, what I'm talking about. You're looking at your map. You're not thinking how much shit echoes in underground. Same thing with visibility.
Well, I mean, just like I'm saying,
I
minimum.
can see with my torch 30 feet, 20 feet bright, 20 feet dim. But if I'm 500 feet away, I see the flicker of your torch.
Yeah.
Players don't,
Yeah, you might not be able to. You can't use that as a light source for yourself, but yeah, 100% you can.
God damn well know, ooh, food in dungeon. And I start moving my shit through the map, knowing where my players are going because they're walking around waving a torch around. And when they get ambushed by all this shit, they think it was an encounter, but the reality is it was a living dungeon chasing them down because they made a lot of noise and waved a torch around.
Yeah.
But that's DM control, and that's storytelling mechanisms that some people think is exploitive. Oh, you waited till we got ourselves in the corner to make us fight, blah blah blah.
See, I don't think that's exploitive. I think that is a
Well,
problem.
then
I think that's
what
a
is
culture.
exploitive?
I think that's a culture problem, honestly.
Okay.
Um,
So give me an example of bad DMing.
Well, that's what I keep saying. It is very much the
A playable, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Here we're in the problem. An actual physical example of a situation that is bad DMing.
Well,
I haven't really put you guys under
I was
much
gonna
of
say,
it.
No, you've never done that, really, honestly. And I've experienced more DMing with you than anybody else ever. So I mean, you've been basically the only DM I've had in comparison, like 99 to 1%.
So,
you know?
well, I mean,
So, like,
let's call this constructive criticism time.
Yeah.
Seriously, think of one time that would have been borderline, questionable type of a thing, and let's talk about that because that's something that is realistic, real based instead of hypotheticals.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the only encounter that we've ever had that like I actually was not okay with so far has been within our Barovia campaign, which is when Chick died, and you've admitted to that being a mistake. So like that's really not even
Yeah.
like like a thing, you know? So like that's literally the only one where I'm like I think that Jim went too far on that one where it's I feel like you went after her like to be like nope, sorry. like
Well, number one,
yeah.
no, she was the last of 4 civilians to die.
Yeah.
Remember the 2
I
people
just
got
love I
up
love the
there,
song.
they all fought, and I kept her behind you guys, and then they came around after they killed the other 2 non-player characters who were helping in the fight.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I should have done it in waves. It would have been a more entertaining, more manageable fight.
Yeah.
I should have had 2 spawn and no, and then 2 more bust out, and then no, and 3 more come out of a closet, and it would have been a completely different thing.
Okay, here's actually an example I would give of bad DM,
Okay.
not from you, but like just in general would be that same event where it is a oh it's unwinnable we can't get past that wasn't unwinnable, but like it's like this is a very hard like thing and our players are probably going to go down and now the DM has come in with a separate character that's going to wind up saving the characters just because the DM wants to have their badass moment of this character that they wrote and want to make them important. I think that stuff like that is being too heavy handed with stuff and being a bad DM when it's like I'm more focused on making the stuff that I wrote seem cool than letting the players have their moments and to not
Mhm.
just purposely put them in a really like a deadly encounter just so I can save them kind of stuff. You know, like that's where I think is a problem. Stuff like that.
I see. For me, I think it depends on when it's done. If it's early mid campaign, for example, the dudes that got all paralyzed by a bunch of spiders and are dangling from a fucking ceiling waiting to get Ed at level 2, and a level 8 dude rolls in and saves their ass. That's a story building moment. But yeah, if you're setting up a level group of level 8s to fail just so you can have your level 15 Super Mordenkainen Jr. come in, I agree with you.
Yeah.
For me, I think it depends on when and how the
No,
context of that is.
I could okay, and that's what I'm saying. I think that there's a difference between this is how the story is progressing and I'm doing this specifically for my own enjoyment and not for the player's enjoyment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like this character is adding nothing to the player's progression. It's just my cool character that I want to play with in the game that I'm already DMing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's only for a moment, so it doesn't really matter after that, does it?
No, I'm saying
But
like
it's a
just
good example.
yeah,
I follow what you're saying.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
making this like even a reoccurring thing where this person keeps showing up just to save your players, like there's Zorro or something like that. They just come out of nowhere, ha ha! I will save the day, and they, you know, do their Z and zip off, and they just it keeps happening to your players. I think eventually they're gonna get pissed off, and that's especially if like they're controlling like where they're going and what they're doing as well, like because they're not getting to do anything with the
yeah.
encounters they're having.
And I think the key in that is if your DM is if you as the DM are forcing your players into a situation where they have no choice but to fail and be rescued by this, yeah, that's
Yes,
where 1,000% that's bad DMing.
yes, yeah. I
I
guess that's
don't
what I'm
think
saying. Yeah,
Yeah, but that kind of what we were chatting about before we started the stream, and we kind of said at the beginning of the stream. Every storytelling mechanic can also be
yeah,
abused into bad DMing. Every moment of bad DMing can also be flipped around and used as a great storytelling mechanic, man.
yeah.
That's the hard fucking part about it. I guess that's why when we're kind of going,
Yeah.
huh? Because like, oh, I thought, well, no, these other 11 situations, that's really good gameplay, but this one situation that's
Really
abusive.
bad, yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's kinda where where that's why we were saying, like, you can't make a hard and fast rule about any of this
Yep,
stuff because, like,
yep,
on one hand, it's a problem, on the other hand, like, that's kinda cool.
yep. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be right
Okay.
back. I'm so sorry. I'm coming.
I don't know why that song was the song that popped into my head. We gotta wait for Jimothy to get back real quick. So I got new D&D stuff. I don't know if you can see them behind me. I got a Baphomet right there. I need to fucking get Tiamat. That's one of the only ones that I'm missing right now. And then I got like a 3-pack that's like Vecna, a Mind Flayer, and I don't remember what the other thing is in it. Oh, the Demogorgon. That's the other thing that's in it. It's cool. I dig it. I had to move some of my stuff. I need to replace the batteries on one of the things because I actually have this like one piece thing that's like the straw hat symbol. That's like a light, but like the batteries died on it really fast, so I've not had it lit up for a really long time. It used to be in my older videos, which you could, yeah, but I moved it up to the top. Oh, I need to put my silver dragon up as well. You guys can't see the top of
Good.
my shelf, but I got stuff on top of my
Good enough.
shelf. I have a fucking
Yeah,
whole, like, half of built
I didn't put
fucking
a ton
Lego
of
set up
spikes
there
on it
that I
because
just never got back
I
to.
love you didn't want to go
I'm
crazy
gonna
with
finish
them.
it eventually. It's like a blacksmith place.
Good job,
Oh
man.
my
You can start
goodness.
cooking dinner once a week.
Right as you came in, you went black and white.
Wow,
Okay, you're good now though.
interesting.
But,
So I didn't do anything but sit down.
yeah, you went all black and white and pixely for a second, then it just popped back in. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, exactly. There's no. This is one of those things. There's no tried and true. I don't think that you could find a print book that tells you that in every situation. I mean, there's obviously some stuff that in 90% of situations you shouldn't do. But even then, you could find one or two points that that's bad DMing. Unless you did this and this and this in that situation,
Yeah.
that'd be really fucking cool.
Well,
And the other ways is that's really fucking cool unless you do this and this and this, and then it's shitty. So the creativity that Josh was talking about when we get into this phase of our intermediate play, where we were talking about, in the past, or kind of player exploitation and learning how to really kind of meta stuff. DMs, this is the same thing for y'all. This is that cautious message of what sounds really cool today, what sounds really cool right here in this moment, can possibly turn really fucking heavy-handed later.
yeah. Ooh. Sorry, I was thinking about like something that would that could be fun, but like might fall into the same thing is if you could put your players into a place where it's anti magic, shrink sapping, so you're basically a commoner and having to do like an espionage mission as normal people. That could be an interesting thing, but it also could be a thing where you're just like people aren't going to be very happy with doing it. But
Save that shit for one-offs, man.
yeah.
And I guess as a GM, that's what I don't like to waste game time with gimmicky little shit that in a campaign that could be done in a one shot.
Yeah. I mean,
That would be great. Normally, you woke up this morning expecting to walk out on the balcony of the 5th floor of your wizard's tower, peering over the college surrounding your tower and the dozens of phalanxes training on the outside of your wall. But as you woke up, you saw a cold hearth, a 5 foot by 5 foot room, and you were itchy in your straw bed. Welcome, commoner. What's the difference between doing that with their real characters and just drumming it up for the one shot? I guess that's where I'm at with it.
no, that's fair.
Because I mean, if it's your real characters, if it's a real campaign, and you keep diverting off of it, you're not gonna. That's that many less one shot sessions that you got to progress your story. You follow with. That's just where I'm at on it. That's just where I'm at. I'd rather say if we need a break, we want to do something dumb. Let's just go do something dumb. For example, look at the Beyond the Magic Mirror, the Dungeon Land thing we that went nowhere. It was fun though.
I still want to finish that. I was really enjoying that character I was playing. I liked him.
Yeah.
Just like, yep, this happens. Sometimes you fall into other dimensions.
But yeah, one shot stuff, man.
Yeah. I could never gotten away with the god I was using because my god was Shea Gorath for that character. I couldn't still like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he
Well,
was doing a trickery domain cleric. That's what he was.
now let me ask you this: being heavy-handed with your patrons, with your deities.
Yeah.
I'm leaving paladins out there because paladins are cool until they decide they're bored of it, and then they break their oath so they can be oath breakers. There's a twofer, and they can play two. They get to play two specs for the price of one. So fuck paladins. But cleric. At what point is it heavy-handed? I don't even say cleric. When I put the fucking Geas on you guys in Waterdeep,
Yeah.
was that heavy-handed?
Ooh.
That was enough damage to outright kill anyone in one day of saying no.
Yeah. I would say that I don't know that it probably if it was other players, it would have been too far. Yes, I think with the group that we had, we understood what was going on, but another group of players would have taken it not very well. I believe.
Well,
For me, I don't think it was heavy handed, but I would say for other people, I think it could be taken that way. Yeah, I guess is the way I'm trying to say it.
mhm.
Like, I had no problem with it. I think it was fine as far as, like, storytelling stuff, but, like, I definitely
So
see you
so
you going, "Hey, I'm gonna thank you
using
guys for what you're doing," and force you into doing the quest. Like, I can see where other people would have a problem with that. Yeah.
using Geass is too heavy handed.
I would say so. Yeah. Yeah. But, not always, and that's what I'm saying. It because, like, I had no issue with it, but if it is
So using Geass to realign the party that was about to get kicked out of the city and ending the campaign for impersonating a nobleman's son after they possibly kidnapped him,
yeah.
infiltrated the house, and not executing him for the crimes that were executable was heavy-handed. And this no, and I'm not trying to make fun of Josh
Yeah.
because the fact is I could have done all of that shit. They deserved it, but because I put Gias on it, it made them change what they wanted to play. So, like it or not, he's right. They didn't want to do the quest. They didn't want to solve the heist, and that was my failure as a DM for not just throwing that away and letting them suffer without the 50K they would have made off of it. Go hoe yourselves out. That's fine. So I put the Gias on him as
Whoa.
a. It was a twofer. Number one, three of these people are getting exiled. Two of these people are getting executed. One of these people is going to sit in jail for 10 years. The campaign's over. The campaign is fucking over unless I do this.
Yeah.
Now, that may have been a bad choice because I pivoted the campaign away from where it was by taking away agency for them. So, isn't it ironic? Ending your life is not taking away agency.
Well, so hold on, because I would say that because in addition to us being geist, you also gave us stipulations of if we failed. So, like, like, if I failed, I would have lost my family's noble title would have been taken away.
Mhm,
Like, people would have been exiled, people would have been, yeah,
mhm,
executed, so, like, I think that could also have been, like, the stopping point of, "You guys go do this, or this is the consequences as well." But
mhm.
yeah, and again, no issue with the
No, but it's
Geas
a
in it,
good
but yeah.
discussion because it focuses on the one thing that players say no. You can't make me do what I don't want to do. Well, yes, I am. I'm going to put a geas on you. No
Yeah.
fair. I could have cut your heads off and everyone would have said shit happens. It's okay. My character's dead and been okay with dead. But they're not okay with being forced to do something. Across the board, that's the
Look,
fucking truth.
I'm gonna be honest, if our campaign would have ended with all of us getting put into jail or executed for the shit that we got into, I probably would have died laughing because that would have just been just mwah. Like, it's like we
Well, you
were.
also remember, I had a person rage quit in the middle of the trial, remember?
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So I was trying to dig for a way to keep the campaign moving and going as people were getting pissed. How dare you enforce laws on me? Do you know who I am? You're a level 2 piece of shit in my city. I know exactly who the fuck you are. But players don't want to hear that. Even if they know it's true in their head, you don't dare remind them of that fact. That's being heavy handed as a DM.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm saying. I don't even agree like that. I 100% think that players should have consequences for their actions. Like, I think that that us being arrested, us being put on trial, everything like that was fair. No problem with that.
Yeah.
I think that is the point of the Geass where it becomes like it being heavy handed. I don't think that anything up to that is heavy handed. Like, 100%. Like, threaten the
Yeah.
characters, put them in their place. 100%. Because, like, you I agree with you. You are a level 2 piece of shit. Like, you can't walk into, like, the main council of fucking mages in a city and be like, "Fuck you, I do what I want," because they're gonna fucking just kill you. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I fully agree, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
But no, I mean, I'm agreeing with you as well.
yeah.
I had admitted that a month after the campaign ended. I fucked up when I put the Geas on you. I
I have no
absolutely
problem with
said
it.
that at day one. You know, well, no, you're one of six people that were in that campaign.
That's yeah, I know,
You
I know.
know, but so I mean that because it removed their ability to decide what they wanted to do that morning when they woke up. You know, even if all they had to do was like go follow a lead and the Geas was satisfied.
Yeah.
It did neither here nor there, neither here nor there.
Yeah.
The fact that there was the threat, the mere threat of their agency and their freedom of decision removed is heavy-handed. That's true. That's fair. So,
I
you know,
yeah. I was yeah, I really enjoyed that campaign regardless. I think it was fun.
yeah,
I did think
yeah.
think that towards the end of it was dissolving because of fucking Sticky Beard and me. But That's just
The
how
most
I
veteran and knowledgeable players that I have. Go figure.
yeah, because I think that just the way that our characters were built out, there was no way that we were ever going to be friendly towards each other. We were going to be antagonistic regardless of anything
Yeah.
because our characters were just literally polar opposites of each other. So like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then that's one of those moments of this is a situation where both players dug their heels and said, "This is what my character do. This is what my
yeah,
character
yeah, I
is,
agree.
and I'm not going to change. So fuck you. Well, fuck you. So
Yeah,
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 I can't do anything.
and,
DMs, you
and I
can't do
yeah,
anything about that.
and that was one of those
When
things
your
where I
player,
fully admitted, like towards the end, where it was like, yeah, I definitely went too far, like a few times with what I was doing. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's in itself an entirely thing, and you might be tempted to use the heavy-handed DM magic to force your players to get along. All this is going to do is build more resentment against each other and you. You know,
yeah.
so recognize when you've got that dysfunction in your group, kill them both, and let them both re-roll new dudes.
Yeah,
Straight up, easiest fucking thing to do.
that's
In
fair.
hindsight, kill they both a asses, fucking dead. Don't even let them get resurrected. Make them re-roll new, and they could be, afterwards it's gonna be like the get along T-shirt
Yeah.
because they're gonna come back and be like twin brothers or some shit. And they're going to be trading spots with each other whenever they do something to make your life miserable. Oh, you didn't like that we didn't get along? We're going to get along really good. But that's okay because you formed a bond.
Yeah, yeah. Which is because I mean, like sometimes our characters were antagonistic, but a lot of times Andrew and I would come in with characters that were supposed to be friendly with each other.
Well, dude,
Yeah, but I mean that, yeah, that was just circumstances of that,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, short of forcing your players to pre-make characters or to play pre-made characters and pre-made behaviors, it is what it is.
yeah,
And you have over the course of if you're playing with a consistent regular play group, you're going to see the trends. This dude is always this way. This chick is always this way. This guy has a little bit more flexibility, but he prefers this way. That's what they do, man. You know. So I mean, if you're on campaign 3, you know who your chaos agent is. And if after 3 campaigns they continue making antagonistic characters, it's not on accident.
yeah, yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
What are you making? Oh, I know what I'm gonna make. Oh, were you running? Yeah, okay. At that point, it's purposeful. So you don't even, as a DM, you're off the hook for anything. They're doing it to each other. Just until they start wasting the table's time, let them fuck with each other. It's okay. But when it starts fucking up the table, then you have an obligation. Till then, let them have fun with it, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, that's a conscientious decision you guys make when you make your characters.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
But here's the thing, though. When it's all said, you guys have a good relationship, so it's something
Yeah,
that's fun. The only time it's bad is literally when it breaks the flow of the game down, and I got to do a little managing. That's
yeah,
happened maybe twice ever.
yeah, yeah. And like
So
yeah, and outside the game, we're perfectly fine with each other. Like, there's no,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a situation. I know you a couple of y'all are hanging out. It's been a situation where we've talked about that. There's something that I say in my pre-games. Don't bring drama to the table. I'll bring enough drama for y'all, but some people just have to. They have to. No, your drama sucks. My drama's the best, and it's coming with me.
but no,
It's okay.
because it's
You
wild. Because
recognize that.
like 100%, like he and I can play characters that are completely antagonistic to each other. But like during breaks or like before the show, we're like talking about like, oh man, I was playing this game the other day. What do you think about this thing? And like we're like
Yeah.
being perfectly friendly to each other. And then in campaign, we're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, but you know that it is what it is. But yeah, don't try to use your DM control, your DM magic to mess with that. You can't magically put them into the get along shirt. You
yeah,
can't do anything about the more. Here's the flip side of it, and it may not be something that anyone will ever admit to. But the more effort and energy you're putting into either diffusing or maintaining that relationship between these two people is the less energy and time you're putting into the other 4 people at the table. By default, they've now become default spectators to the drama between bitch A and bitch B.
yeah,
Everyone is at the table to watch bitch A and bitch B fight with each other for an hour, and the DM's gonna finally get in there and break it, and now we can finally fucking play D&D.
yeah. That's fair.
Don't put yourselves and the tables into that situation, man. I know it sounds fun, but it gets fucking
Um, so I, I never mind. I was gonna ask you a question, but I guess you just kind of answered it. like roundabout, I was gonna say, like, do you think it's the DM's job to dictate how players play if it is something like that? Like outside the game, they're perfectly fine. Inside of the game, their characters are you. I guess yeah, you answered the question already.
Yeah, when it becomes detrimental to the amount of time that the rest of the group gets to play the game that session, it's a problem. It always comes down to that in my mind. Now, obviously, with friends with long-term campaigns, that breaks out over sessions and averages. So maybe if it's just one session, it was really drama, and normally it's not a big deal, and you let that slide. But if it's a constant thing, it's affecting playtime for the group. It's affecting flow of the game. Yeah, you have an obligation at some point. Like I said, kill both them motherfuckers dead. Let them reroll. Stop wasting everyone's time. Stop showing, like it or not, favoritism. Remember, your Chaos Goblin is doing this for attention, to be the center of the moment, to be the center of the game. The more time that you spend ministering to this, the more you're feeding this. The less time you have for the rest of your table, and the more you're encouraging that behavior. Unfortunately, it's true. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So either, figure out how to work with that Chaos Goblin away from the table to figure out how to redirect them in-game in a positive manner to keep things going, which is what you want to strive for, is what you really want to strive for. You don't want to push them away. You don't want because that's a good energy. That's passion for the game at the same time that they're investing. Most of the time. Sometimes it's just an asshole being an asshole. If he does that in the real world, he gets his ass kicked, so he comes to the table to bully people with imaginary characters, imaginary dice. Yeah. Yes, those people exist, it or not.
Absolutely.
But go ahead.
We found out about that when the internet, came into existence.
Yeah, D&D is no different. D&D is no different. Yeah. Us gatekeepy ass neckbeard motherfuckers. But yeah, it just, for me, when it interferes with the experience of the shared table is when you have an obligation to do something about it. But you need to fix it. You don't need to coddle it. You don't need to drag it along. You don't need to enable it by giving it attention.
So let me ask you this. Say that this is a situation like you have a player that is like just the let's say stereotypical like edgelord, like, oh, I'm a lone ranger and I do this by myself, and but like say the rest of the party has no issue with this guy. They're actually enjoying his character. They might even take it as he's playing a joke character, we're just going along with it kind of thing. Do you think it's still your job as the DM to go, look, so as long
go
as
ahead and finish.
To be like, look, like you're just like alienating yourself from the group, like by being this character, like you're playing this seriously, they think it's a joke. Like, do you think it's your job as a DM to step in, or do you think you should just
has it ever been? I mean, my philosophy has always been my job is not to explain why you guys stay together.
No, that's fair.
My job is not to explain. So if Mr. Lone Ranger over here and the parties accept him and his edgelords, and by default you accepted some part about him.
Yeah.
You guys have come up with your why on your own.
That's fair.
That's not my job. My job is when Mr. Edgelord has to spend 40 minutes being edgy on his own away from the rest of the party and take valuable table time to focus on being the Chaos Demon Edgelord, murder hobo, lawful stupid. Pick your dumb here. Insert your shithead here. And when that time has become so much it affects the other table, that's when my job is to step in.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay. So
if everyone's cool, well, for example, one of my games, it's like it was hilarious because we had that exact thing. They all walk into they met each other kind of on the road. They walk into the tavern. One guy was all dour and moody, didn't say anything. He immediately retreats to one of the corners, and another guy hadn't said anything. He immediately retreats to another corner. And what are you doing? I'm brooding. And the other guy says, I'm just keeping my eyes on. And so. It's fucking awesome because the rest of the other 4 players are just catcalling the 2 brooders in the corner, and it became a running joke. It's like, you can't, only one of you's allowed to brood today. We can't have 2 people brooding in a corner. They're like, well, we need to find a place that's just a wall with no corners. What do they do then? So it became fun.
Round bar.
Exactly. What corner are you going to sit? So, that's, but again, here's the caveat. These people know each other. They're friends outside of it. I'm actually the outsider on this. This was 6 dudes that play together, hired me, brought me in to do it. So, as a DM, a lot of the stuff that I normally look for, I've got to put off to the side. Some of the warnings, the danger. Oh man, that guy's like did you really just say that to him? And in a normal pickup group, it'd be like, okay, time out. We got to have this talk here. But in these dudes have known each other 7, 10 years. There's a bunch of 24, 25-year-olds. Bullying is part of their life. That's how dudes get along at that age.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of my normal operating principles, my radars that are popping up, I've got to pull back a little bit. Because yes, that is DM control, and not from a gameplay, not from a storytelling mechanic, but from an actual table management mechanic. That a lot of my normal standards and expectations and red flags that pop up don't necessarily apply to this table.
That's fair.
I mean, it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
doing this stuff at the game shop. I have met so many new people, so many different players, but I've also had so many things confirmed.
Like,
When I say every group has a chaos demon,
oh yeah.
I've got 11 campaigns in total running right now. Between R3 and I'm sorry, 9 running right now. I'm running with in excess of 75 players every 2 weeks right now. And standards are still standards. And things that happen in every group happen in every group.
Yeah.
Just as much as the tavern is a stereotype, the edgelord's a stereotype. The Chaos Goblins is a stereotype. The Holy Rollers are a stereotype. And they don't change from one group to the next. So,
Yeah. And I know that, like, from the get go, like before we even played our first campaign, I told you, like, I'm like if there's an object that's put in front of me that it's like, hey, you probably shouldn't touch this, I'm probably gonna be the person that's gonna touch it, because I know that that's gonna either A, move the storyline along, or B, it's gonna let the DM have fun with the thing that they made that nobody else is gonna touch. You know?
There's also times that we really don't want you to touch it.
That's fair.
It's
That's
not
fair.
time to touch it. It's not time to look at it. I mean, look at the Mummy Rock curse.
That's true.
If you guys would have gone through 2 other rooms before you got there, you would have been fully equipped to kick the shit out of that thing.
Yeah.
But because you walked straight up to the first fucking puzzle, the first fucking gate, and correctly, smartly solved it, walked right in and kicked open a fucking cat, which, I'm sorry, that's on y'all dumbasses. There's this big-ass rotating statue that you have to spin around to open up this sealed vault that's got all these other sealed crypts in it, and you're going to roll over and kick that. I mean, you got that one coming, buddy. But yeah, so, I mean, sometimes we got to be able to put stuff in there for later that you see for now. So that I'm going to touch everything and look everything. You're right. It gives us opportunities to have fun, but a lot of times it gives us nightmares that we got to fucking either make up a new MacGuffin because they weren't supposed to handle it this soon, and
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that one was literally just us going, "Hey, we solved a thing." Like that.
Yeah.
that
Oh, I hear
yeah,
you. I hear you.
yeah,
But then you get into another thing: is a DM control. Do I have an obligation knowing what's behind that gate because they didn't solve the puzzle in the order that I had it set up, even though they solved it? Should I have suddenly made that inert because they didn't get the other pieces they needed to do it and give them the reward? Or should I give them the fight that they didn't prepare for because they didn't find the other pieces?
So I I guess it could have been handled in one of two ways. I guess one of a few ways. The first two things that pop into my mind are just what happened, which is you guys solved it, you walked in. It could have also been where even though we solved it, that one it doesn't activate until we solve the other ones beforehand. That could have also been an option, and that would have forced us into going into
No, you were supposed to
games. Yeah.
find weapons that would have helped you beat them, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Oh, okay,
In
okay,
other
okay.
parts of the crypt, there were
Oh,
things that would have made that a manageable encounter,
okay,
is what I'm trying to say.
I got you. I thought you
So
were saying that there were
knowing that they
puzzles.
couldn't,
My fault.
no, that's okay. We're still on the same
Yeah.
path here, because knowing that this crypt that I set up for the players, the final boss encounter for it, for lack of a better term, was only defeatable by this particular group at this level with these so-called MacGuffins given, like the One Ring, etc., etc. So, you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At what point am I saying too bad, so sad? Yeah, you figured out, because the puzzle wasn't the crypt
Yeah.
so much as being able to kill what was in there and get some badass shit.
Yeah.
So
Well,
am I? Go ahead. Go ahead.
well, then I mean, I think you played it perfectly fine then. I don't think that you're under an obligation to make sure that we're equipped for a thing. We solved a puzzle. We might not have been ready to suffer the consequences, but yeah, I don't think you did anything wrong
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. But I mean,
And yeah,
There
we
are
suffered brain
design
rot and lost a bunch of gold because of it. So I mean, hey.
and there are schools of design that say that I should have been more flexible because that's railroaded DMing. If you design an encounter where they have to do this and then do this and then do this and this is the only way they can succeed, that's bad encounter design. That's what we hear about as well. But how many real encounters are predicated on that being the thing? You know?
Well, I don't see how like this instance would be bad encounter design. The only way that I could have said that you could have changed it in any way whatsoever would have been to put the stuff the other way around, where we had to get the objects before we got to it by that's the only way that it could have been any
Mhm.
different. But
Yeah.
like otherwise, I don't think that you could have designed it any other way. Like
Yeah.
we solved a puzzle just because we took notice of it and it was sooner than we were supposed to do it. Like that's you didn't do anything. That was it was all that stuff was already in place. You know,
Yeah.
that was our
And
decisions that led to it. Yeah.
that's where I land, dude. I
Yeah.
build a crypt, I set it up. It is what it is. It's for the players to go through and do what they're gonna do. Typically, every maze, dungeon, crypt, whatever. I mean, shit. I mean, how many people cry foul when it's time for Tomb of Horrors? There's literally only one way to get past most of the challenges in that fucking thing.
Yeah.
You may have a couple different ways to achieve that effect, but for example, floaty slide. If you ain't got fly, you're gonna melt. Period. Whether it's a spell, whether it's boots, whether it's a ring, or maybe levitation, something. But if you don't have something to get you up in the air without gravity affecting you, you die. You die. There's no checks, there's no jumps, there's no nothing. That's a specific encounter, and the sad thing is it's a dead end encounter where that thing is.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. Like going and being like, oh, if you walk into this room, there's no way of telling, but if you walk into this room, your character's instantly disintegrated. Cool. Like
Is that, I mean, but that's pure DM control. Is that bad? I don't think so. That should be the understood of that module.
yeah.
But when you're a character, literally, you're a player, and you've been fostering this dude for so long, and you literally didn't even have a saving throw, you feel violated.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Can I bring him? No, sphere of annihilation. Well, how about it? No, annihilation. Nothing left. Maybe if you get a high enough level caster to cast wish, you might be able to get something back to resurrect. Maybe if I'm feeling generous, but other than that, no, just go home.
oh man.
Especially in 5e, you're incinerating someone in the first 20 minutes of the fucking game. We're not walking around with 5 characters like we used to in 1e. You're like, oh shit. Oh well. Anyway, Charles IV comes in. How many Charles you got tonight? I got 9, baby. Okay. You know? But we don't play that way in 5. So you got someone who's literally sidelined the rest of the damn camp, the rest of that session,
Yeah.
and probably multiple sessions because they put their their head in the mouth.
Yeah. 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 And that was just them inspecting it. Like, yeah.
Is that that's heavy-handed in a roundabout way, but it's mechanical.
Well, I believe that is on the DM to go, hey, look, this is a completely deadly fucking place. Like going into this, you know that you can die by making the wrong decision at any time. You know, like people going. I think that people should go into that with the expectation of, yeah, you could be sidelined for the rest of the game by making the wrong decision. Play safely. You know,
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I agree.
I mean, there's a reason
I
that
mean, and
10-foot poles were, a thing that was in every adventurer pack.
I was about to
Because I
say,
can put a pole in the thing and see if it disintegrates and not walk into that room.
for my old ass, that was all part of learning how to play the game.
Yeah.
You know, but I guess with modern D&D, you don't learn that stuff until you're level 10 and you walk into it the first time.
Man, and yeah, like there would be like, oh, you go into a room that's just filled with levers, and like if you pull the wrong lever, sorry, you just die. Or if you pull the right lever, guess what? You just started back at the start of the temple. Congratulations. Figure out how to get back to where you were. Like,
Or if you could manage to grow
Jesus.
4 arms at the same time and hit all 4 levels,
Yeah.
you open a trap door that was hidden visibility above you that actually led to a shaft that goes somewhere else.
Yes.
So you open a door that you couldn't even see if you could manage to do it.
Yep.
Fucked up place. I love that place. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, man. It's so, I mean, as we been sitting here bullshitting, chatting through it, it's so subjective, dude.
It really
There
is.
is no objective other than the fact if you are Chasing, well, no, I think the one thing that we have landed on, if you are removing the option for your players to make a decision, that's where DM control has gone too far. I think that's kind of one of the things that we have agreed on through the whole discussion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. And I would
You
say that at the point in time where you were doing it for yourself as a DM and not for the players, I would also say that could also be a point where you're going over bounds or stuff where it's just something that's giving you as the DM enjoyment and it is not making anything enjoyable for the players. I would say it's also a point where you're getting heavy-handed with stuff.
I disagree on that one a little bit. You need to be able to have fun DMs.
Oh, I'm not saying don't have
You know,
fun. I'm just saying where if it's a point where it's like, oh, this is only for me and it means nothing for anybody else involved, like where it's just selfish DMing, where and it's not like oh, this is a point in time where the players are meant to feel bad, and that makes me feel good. Where it's just like, no, this is only for me. Like this isn't for story progression. This is just a I want to feel good as a DM moment. I'm gonna just kill my party because I feel like it tonight, kind of thing. I think is where where it's just like this is only something good for me.
it's fair.
Yeah,
It's fair. I guess I was about to say, nah,
yeah.
putting someone in the border ethereal makes me giggle. You
Well, I
know.
mean, that was for your party too. Because he was, if he would have continued and gotten out of that, he would have been a problem for your party.
You have a choice as a DM with your DM control. In a lot of cases, we have to use our control because it's something that's not in the rule book. It's something that's a little bit disruptive to the table, or we're using it to continue along with the story mechanic. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of responsibility if you handle it poorly. Um, like I said, the example we're talking about, everyone enjoyed it. Everyone's having fun with it, but it is absolutely punitive right now. I got a brand new player at the table, just sat down, first session, and I had to throw the dude in the border ethereal. And 99% of the time, I promise you, if you took the player's version of this story and went to Reddit, I'd be the worst fucking DM in the history of fucking ever. Ever. He didn't even let me check for an alarm. He didn't even say that there was anything on it. I passed an inspection check and it was a Cloak of Elvenkind. So the player version of this, I'm the worst. I'm the devil, man. But, how do you, so I guess that's a challenge, man. I mean, you ain't never gonna make everyone happy at the end of the day, But yeah, as far as your DM control to bad DMing, most of the time you're not going to realize you did it until you're on the other side of it. And the important thing ultimately, in my opinion, is you're going to be, I don't want to say be a bad DM, you're going to make bad DM mistakes over a long career of DMing. It's going to happen. It's going to fucking happen. Be willing to own it, be willing to admit it, and talk to your players about it in those few moments. Because you're going to build trust and you build consistency with your players. I mean, we're talking about there. I actually borked a fucking encounter just because I put all the bad guys on the table at fucking once. That was that simple. One small mechanical thing. If I did it on 2 waves, completely different story, completely different gameplay where we're at now. I realized that literally the next day, man. I was like, y'all, I fucked that all up. I should have sent that in 2 waves. It would have been different,
Yeah.
So, I mean, but be willing to learn from it when you make your mistakes. I mean, that's not DM control. That was bad encounter planning or execution. Good encounter, bad execution.
And
but
there's definitely a difference between being malicious or being heavy-handed and making a mistake. There's definitely a difference between the two.
Yeah, but definitely own your mistakes. Own your mistakes.
Yeah.
Because you're showing that you're still part of the group. You're not above and beyond outside the rules. You're a DM. You're going to make mistakes. We're still playing a collaborative game together. You're going to build trust, And guess what? You get up a moment to learn. You make a mistake. You learn from your mistake. You move on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
And that way, the other thing is when my players get their asses kicked and we have the post-mortem about it, they know, well, no, the DM's really good about, saying, hey, I fucked up on this. Oh, my bad on that. So when he stomped us into the ground in 3 rounds and flew away laughing at us, we had that one a-coming. And that was an absolute legit ass whooping.
Yeah.
So that's the important thing about building the relationship and the trust.
Yeah.
At the end of the day here, I got to leave in a couple minutes.
Oh, yeah, I was going to actually say something about that. Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, it's a trust thing that you're trusting the players when they sit down at your table because you're the dude in control. You're the chick in control. The entire world, the entire game, everything is predicated on what you present to the party and what you allow them to interact with. There's a level of trust that goes on with that, and it's an easy thing to break by being a bad DM, by exerting that control at the wrong moment or in the wrong way. When it happens, and I'm going to say when, because it's gonna, and it's not even going to be out of malice. It's going to be something you just truly didn't realize. Own it. Admit to the mistake. And I'm not saying you got to, oh my God, please forgive me, guys. Hey, y'all, I kind of screwed up on this. My bad. And your players were like, no, it's cool, man. We got you. I get it. You know, so that's the hope that you're building towards, man. You're going to do it. Because we got to be inventive now. We got to come up with the strange, cool, kooky shit to keep our players challenged. And you're probably going to go a couple too far a few times.
Yeah. I mean, and I was gonna say, how many stories, and I'm sure you've heard of them, where um this isn't even a mistake. This isn't even DMs going too far. But how many times have you heard a story of a DM putting a puzzle in front of players and them not being able to figure it out? And it's just the easiest shit. Like where it's like a meme now, where it's like riddles for babies to like give to players.
Yep. 1 minute. We're closing out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah. Kindergarten puzzles for kindergartners. 3 hours later.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, so yeah, I don't know that's a discussion for its own time, man. You know how to manage and prompt characters without railroading them. And dude, I gotta admit fault on this one. I don't want to say notorious, but I think everyone that's played for me an extended period of time has been, you know what? Fuck it. This is the way you go. Just go. Here's the key. Here's the map. Just fucking go. I've hit that point with every one of my campaigns at some point because it's like,
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, we made the joke about that all the time in Waterdeep, where it was like, who's got the brain cell today? Because like,
right.
at no point in time did we ever function as a cohesive brain. Like, never.
Yeah, but that's a good discussion maybe for next week if we remember how. And now that we're into DM controlling and intermediate play, how do we railroad without railroading? How do we control decision without impacting player agency? So let's talk about a little bit of that next time.
Okay,
You know, I think you know, despite our initial think, I think we did land on a good, solid, concrete point. Using GM control to the point where you're removing the ability to make a choice is number one, mucho ucho number one.
Yes.
If your players do not feel like they have a choice, well, just roll the fucking dice for me. Tell me what skill I'm supposed to use, because every time I tell you, you tell me no. That's when your DM control might be a little bit too far. Yeah. And the other thing, like Josh was saying, is a very valid thing. When they're using you to tell their story, when they're using you to give themselves a moment of heroic glory, or they came home, they had a bad day at work, and their cat pooped in their shoe, and they burnt their Totino pizza, and it's time for the session, and I'm ready to kill someone, and they kill someone, that's bad DM power.
Yeah.
You know? But we're going to do it. Make your mistake, admit to it, and move on, learn from it, and promise yourself you're not going to be an overbearing God mode DM. They're trusting us with the control of their worlds. You need to honor that trust.
Yeah. My guilt-ridden ass would like, if I had like a bad day and I killed a player, I'd be like, actually, your goddess comes down and resurrects you. This is I'd feel so bad about it. Like,
right.
like even like a normal character death, I'd be like fine with, but like if I did it out of malice, I'd be like, I'm sorry, you come back to life.
I'm coming. Which car? Pathfinder. But yeah, guys, I gotta go. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Yeah.
A joyous December 24th and 25th to any of you guys are out there. Are we gonna hit next week?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yeah.
We'll be back next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm believing our normal streaming and everything schedule should be back next week. I will not be streaming on Monday in accordance with you know, family time and all of that, but my normal lunchtime chats will be back next week. Yeah. But I got to bounce. I got a hardworking kid. I get to good work. Thank you so much for joining me, Josh. Had a good time.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else that's out there, appreciate you guys. Likes, follows, subscribes, as always, are appreciated. Yeah. Hit both of our abouts, my page and his page. Even if you're on my site, go check out Grizzly 10 Fins. Hit his about. We've got some YouTube shit going on. We got some Etsy stuff going on. We got some Facebook, Patreon, on all of it, man. Feel free to join us on other stuff. But thank you for your time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Take care.
Bye, chums.